I'm Eva, and I'm with Jada, Grace, Sean, and Michael, and we're in SADD Club, and today we're going to be talking about teen and underage drinking. Okay, so first off, how many of you know someone who is underage and drinks alcohol?
I do.
I also do.
I would say I know a couple of different people.
Definitely.
I know
A few.
So, do you guys think drinking has been worse because of the pandemic?
I think the pandemic has definitely affected teen drinking, I think because of school being online, people feel more lonely, depression probably has gone up. Just like seeing people, helps to aid in people feeling less lonely. So not being able to see people because everyone's at home on a computer would definitely affect people's mental well-being.
So it's like more of a coping mechanism because of the pandemic more than anything else.
Yeah, I think it's probably like the pandemic has influenced, what's the word?
It's made kids more sad, and they need an outlet to find.
There you go,
That's
an outlet.
An outlet.
It's made like a path for teen drinking.
Yeah, it's made definitely. It makes them feel better. It makes them have fun, because we've had such a long time where we haven't had anything, and they finally find something, and they're like, oh, here, this changes my whole mood. Let's dive right into that.
Especially since alcohol is a mental suppressant in a way. It stops the functions of your brain, so it'll relieve any feelings of
sadness
that
stress.
you have, because it kind of just calms you down in a way.
Mm-hmm. Because we're in high school and obviously we're all under 21, do you think that there's an idea that people can't have fun if there's no alcohol involved? Do you think that's something that affects you, your friend group, people in general?
I mean, I think definitely, teen drinking is glamorized in some aspect. Just even talking to people who drink and go to parties, they always have these exciting stories about who they're hanging out with, what happened, all that type of stuff. So it kind of makes you feel a little left out when you hear about that stuff. And, when they say that stuff, it does sound fun, but the negative effects that come with drinking.
So, especially now, because we're in high school, do you think that there's an idea that people can't have fun unless alcohol is involved?
I think teen drinking has been glamorized, at lunch when you're sitting with your friends and, if they're telling stories about a party they went to and they talk about how they were drinking and hanging out with, all these other people who drink, it definitely makes you feel left out in a way. And they always talk about how much fun they had, right? So you have that association of, oh, I had so much fun while I was drinking.
Yeah.
So it definitely connects those two ideas, and a lot of people, when you hear a lot of people saying those two things together, I had fun while drinking, it definitely makes the idea that you have to drink to have fun.
And obviously there's the appeal that you're breaking rules. Mm-hmm. Sean, what do you think about that?
Personally, I don't think need alcohol to have fun, but some other people think otherwise. And yeah.
What do you think about the breaking rules aspect, though? What do you think about that?
Do you think that makes it more appealing?
Yeah.
Why?
Because it's illegal, and I guess illegal things are fun.
Yeah. I mean, I think the kind of risk, right? That dopamine rush, or not is it dopamine? No.
Yeah. Almost adrenaline.
Yeah, adrenaline.
Almost getting caught.
Yeah, it's the adrenaline rush that comes with knowing that you're doing something bad, right? I think that probably has a factor in it. And in movies and stuff, it's always the cool kids who do bad stuff.
Yeah, it's really glamorized. It looks more fun than it actually is.
Exactly.
So obviously there's the mental effects. It makes you happier. You feel like you're having a good time. But do you think that people really know the physical effects? Do you think those are glossed over? People don't really think about it?
Well, I feel like some people do know the physical effects, but they just don't care.
They don't think it
still
applies
do
to
it
them.
anyway. So, some people are self-aware to what it's doing to their bodies, but they're like, you know what, I don't care. After high school, I'll be done with that. That is not really true.
Yeah, I feel like they don't really think anything's gonna happen to them.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm not gonna get into a drunk car accident with my friend. That's not gonna happen to me, but obviously it does. Or I'm not gonna have alcohol poisoning and die. That's not gonna happen to me, but one thing leads to another, and it is you.
I feel like at our school there aren't a lot of luckily there aren't a lot of bad stories involving alcohol with the students. I know in other schools they definitely have that's a bigger issue. So I think in schools like that is probably more of a factor, And then because we do talk about it in health class and stuff, we have a whole unit on drug and substance abuse. So I wouldn't say it's glossed over, but I think just because we're not seeing the actual effects of teen drinking as much in our school, it's just it doesn't feel how Grace said, it doesn't feel real.
Yeah. I think it doesn't become as much as a real thing until it happens to you or happens to someone close to you.
Yeah.
So on that note, has anyone witnessed drinking pose a threat to people's safety?
I think I have been to one party where one of the people I saw drinking genuinely passed out afterwards, right? They were running around and then they just kind of dropped, and then later I saw them again and they were definitely not there,
Yeah.
So I mean, obviously that's a hazard because he had no idea what he was doing. He had no idea where he was, what was happening. So he wasn't in control of his actions in any way.
So this one dude that I know, I won't say his name, I saw him fall into a fire and burn the heck out of his hand. And the next morning he was like, oh, what happened to my hand? Then he realized, what happened to his hand. He also got arrested too.
Yeah.
Taken to the hospital. See, that's what alcohol does to you. It's
And
bad.
There's another thing too is because alcohol stops your feeling of pain as well. So I have this friend who was she told me how she was in the car and the car had braked and she fell forward on the seat and she didn't even feel it because she was so intoxicated, so you don't realize the physical harm you could be causing yourself when you are drunk.
So obviously there's the physical effects, you're incoherent, you can't feel pain, you're sick, but there's also the fact that because you're incoherent, you can put yourself in dangerous situations involving other people. You don't know what other people are going to do to you or what you're even going to do to them.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. Because, stuff sexual misconduct and things like that's a real reality for people who are intoxicated. And I think, understanding that when you are drunk, you really aren't in control of what's happening most of the time is an important thing to realize. Just so you can stay safe, and also how you said, make sure you're keeping others safe so you're not doing something to harm somebody else.
Especially in drunk driving circumstances, there's people think, oh, it's fine, I'll get into a car, I'll drive, I'll be fine, I'm getting in the car alone, there's no one going with me, if I get hurt, it's just me. But you have to think about there's going to be other people on the road, you're not the only person in the world. And I feel that's kind of what goes into your head when you're drunk. You don't really think about other people. Mm-hmm. All right, well, thank you guys for talking about this with me.
Thank you.
I feel
No problem.
we were able to make some good points and really give a good perspective.
Yeah, definitely as high schoolers, I think it's important.
Thank you for tuning into this SADD Club podcast. Hopefully you'll hear from us again